Welcome to this session. Myself Anirban Sarkar, Assistant Professor, JIS College of Engineering, Mechanical Engineering Department. Today we are discussing about that subject, that is energy conservation and management. So far what we have discussed about that in the last session, that about that classification of cogeneration systems. So we have discussed about that four types of topping cycle, that is gas turbine or diesel turbine based. The second type, that is high pressure steam system. Third is IC engine type system, and the fourth is gas turbine as a topping cycle. And last of all, we have discussed about that bottoming cycle, that is primarily it is the thermal power plant. Today we will discuss about the factors influencing cogeneration choice. The selection and operation scheme of a cogeneration system is very much site specific and depends on several factors as discussed below. First of all, first point, that is base electrical load matching. In this case, the cogeneration plant is sized to meet the minimum electrical demand of the site based on historical demand curve. The rest of the needed power is purchased from the utility grid. The thermal energy requirement of the site could be met by the cogeneration system along or by additional boiler. If the thermal energy generated with the base electrical load exceeds the plant demand, and if the situation permits, excess thermal energy can be exported to neighboring customer. Second factor, influencing factor, base thermal load matching. Here the cogeneration system is sized to supply the minimum thermal energy requirement on the site. Standby boilers or burners are operated during periods when the demand for heat is higher. The prime mover installed operates at full load at all time. If the electricity demand of the site exceeds that which can be provided by the prime mover, then the remaining amount can be purchased from the grid. Likewise, if local law permits, the excess electricity can be sold to power utility. Third influencing factor, that is electrical load matching. In this operating scheme, the facility is totally independent of the power utility grid. All the power requirement of the site, including the reserve needed during scheduled and unscheduled maintenance, are to be taken into account while sizing the system. This is also referred to as stand-alone system. If the thermal energy demand of the site is higher than the generated by the cogeneration system, auxiliary boilers are used. On the other hand, when thermal energy demand is low, some thermal energy is wasted. If there is a possibility, excess thermal energy can be exported to the neighboring facility. Number 4, total thermal load matching. The cogeneration system is designed to meet the thermal energy requirement of the site at any time. The prime movers are operated following the thermal demands. During the period when electricity demand exceeds the generation capacity, the deficit can be compensated by power purchased from the grid. Similarly, if the local legislation permits, electricity produced in excess at any time may be sold to the utility. So these are the few different influencing factor for the thermal influencing of the cogeneration choice. Next, what are the important technical parameters for the cogeneration, which is very important. So you know that while selecting cogeneration system, one should consider some technical parameters that assist in defining the type and operating scheme of different alternative cogeneration system to be selected. First of all, heat to power ratio. Heat to power ratio is one of the most important technical influencing the selection of the type of cogeneration system. The heat to power ratio of a facility should match with the characteristics of the cogeneration system to be installed. Heat to power ratio, it is defined as the ratio of thermal energy to electricity required by the energy consuming facility, though it can be expressed in different units such as BTU, that is British thermal unit per kilowatt hour, kilocalorie per kilowatt hour, etc. Here it is presented on the basis of same energy unit, that is kilowatt. Basis heat to power ratio of the different cogeneration systems are shown in this table with some technical parameters. The steam turbine cogeneration system can offer a large range of heat to power ratios. Now, if we see the table, the type of cogeneration system, that is back pressure steam turbine system, heat to power ratio, that is kilowatt or kilowatt of energy, kilowatt thermal or kilowatt of energy, heat, that is kilowatt in thermal by kilowatt of energy supply. That if we use back pressure steam turbine, so it will be in between 4 to 14.3. power output as percentage of fuel input, that is within 14 to 28, and overall efficiency per cell, that is 84 to 92%. Extraction condensing steam turbine, as we can see, that is extraction condensing steam turbine. Heat to power ratio 2 to 10, and power output as percentage of fuel input, that is 22 to 40, and overall efficiency of the plant, that is 60 to 80. Gas turbine, if we choose gas turbine cogeneration system, gas turbine assist cogeneration system, heat to power ratio, that is 1.3 to 2, and power input, it is between 24 to 35, and overall efficiency, that is varies from 70 to 85%. Combined cycle, in case of combined cycle, that is heat to power ratio is 1 to 1.7 only, power output 34 to 40, and overall efficiency that varies from 69 to 83%. And in case of reciprocating engine, heat to power ratio 1.1 to 2.5, power output 33 to 53, and overall efficiency, that is 75 to 85. Cogeneration uses a single process to generate both electricity and usable heat or cooling. The proportions of heat and power needed, that is heat to power ratio, vary from site to site, so the type of plant must be selected carefully, and appropriate operating scheme must be established to match demands as closely as possible. The plant may therefore be set up to supply part or all of the site heat and electricity load, or an excess of either may be exported if a suitable customer is available. Now in the following table shows heat to power ratio for certain energy intensive industries. So first of all, breweries, that is minimum required 1.1, maximum 4.5, and average 3.1. Pharmacy industry, minimum 1.5, maximum 2.5, and average 2. Fertilizer industry 0.8, maximum 3, and average is 2. Food industry, minimum 0.8, maximum 2.4, average is 1.2. Paper industry, minimum 1.5, maximum 2.5, and average 1.9. Cogeneration is likely to be most attractive under the following circumstances. Number 1, the demand for both steam and power is balanced, that is consistent with the range of steam and power ratio output that can be obtained from a single cogeneration plant. A single plant or group of plant has sufficient demand for steam and power to permit economics of scale to be achieved. Peaks and troughs in demand can be managed, or in case of electricity, adequate backup supplies can be obtained from the utility company. The ratio of heat to power required by a site may vary during different times of the day and sessions of the year. Importing powers from the grid can make up shortfall in electricity output from the cogeneration unit, and firing standby boilers can satisfy additional heat demand. Many large cogeneration units utilize supplementary or boost firing of exhaust gases in order to modify the heat power ratio of the system to match site load. Next, the important technical parameters, that is quality of thermal energy needed. The quality of thermal energy required, that is temperature and pressure, also determines the type of cogeneration system. For a sugar mill, needing thermal energy is about 120 degrees centigrade. A topping cycle cogeneration system can meet the heat demand. On the other hand, for a cement plant requiring thermal energy at about 1450 degrees centigrade, a bottoming cycle cogeneration system can meet both high quality thermal energy and electricity demand for the plant. Next parameters, that is load pattern. The heat and power demand patterns of the user affects the selection, that is type and size of the cogeneration system. For instance, the load pattern of two energy consuming facilities are shown in the figure, that will lead to two different size possibility types also of cogeneration system. So in factory A, the electricity demand is shown as an bold line, and the factory B, the thermal energy required is shown as an dotted line. In factory A, that is the load pattern, as we can see, when the thermal energy is required, at that time the power electricity is required much less, and when the electricity is required in much higher proportion, the thermal energy is less. So it is just coincide of the two things, that is thermal energy as well as electricity in the factory A. When the power demand of thermal energy is high, that is electricity is required low, as we can see here in this figure. This is the thermal energy as shown in dotted line, and in case of electricity, that is required this curve when the thermal energy is required low. But in a factory B, as we can see, the electricity and the thermal energy required is nearly same. So the type of cogeneration system that will be required for these two different factories will be different, and the type and size of this plant capacity, etc., that will also different. Next factor, that is fuel availability. Depending on the availability of fuels, some potential cogeneration systems may have to be rejected. The availability of cheap fuels or waste products that can be used as fuels at a site is one of the major factors in the technical consideration, because it determines the competitiveness of the cogeneration system. For example, a rice mill needs mechanical power for milling and heat for paddy drying. If a cogeneration systems were considered, the steam turbine would be the first priority, because it can use the rice husk as a fuel, which is available as waste product from the mill. Next important technical parameters, that is the system reliability. Some energy consuming facilities requires very reliable power and or heat. For instance, a pulp and paper industry cannot operate with a prolonged unavailability of process steam. In such instance, the cogeneration system to be installed must be modular, that is, it should consist more than one unit, so that shutdown of specific unit cannot seriously affect the energy supply. Number 6, that is grid dependent system versus independent system. A grid dependent system has access to the grid to buy or sell electricity. The grid independent system is also known as stand-alone system that meet all energy demand of the site. It is obvious that for the same energy consuming facility, the technical configuration of the cogeneration system designed as a grid dependent system would be different from that of standalone system. Next, the number 7, retrofit versus new installation. If the cogeneration system is installed as a retrofit, the system must be designed so that the existing energy conversion system, such as boilers, can still be used. In such circumstances, the opinion for cogeneration system would depend on whether the system is a retrofit or a new installation. Number 8, electricity buyback. The technical consideration of cogeneration system must take into account whether local regulation permits electric utilities to buy electricity from cogenerator or not. The size and type of cogeneration system would be significantly different if one were to allow the export of electricity to the grid. Last of all, that is local environment regulation. The local environment regulation can limit the choice of fuel to be used for the proposed cogeneration system. If the local environmental regulation are stringent, some available fuels cannot be considered because of high treatment cost of the pollute exhaust gas, and in some cases the fuel itself. So these are all the main 9 points or the 9 technical considerations to choose a cogeneration system. The important thing is that, most important thing is that there is heat to power ratio, which is the most important parameters, and for different things or the different installation, it depends which cogeneration system we need to be employed. And in industry wise also, what type of system will be best suitable fitted, that is also depend on this heat to power ratio. Like pharmacy, fertilizer, food and paper industry, industry wise their heat to power ratio that varies from minimum to maximum and average. So one need to be choose very efficiently, so that the costing of this, ultimate costing of the products and the operation cost of this plant will be minimum. And the cogeneration that is most attractive under the following circumstances. As we know, the demand for both steam and power is balanced, that we have discussed in case of load pattern. So it will be most attractive way. That in factory B, as we see, that is the electricity and the thermal energy, that is demand, are nearly same, and a single plant or a group of plant has sufficient demand for steam and power to permit economic to scale to be achieved. So if we think about economically, the steam and power should permit, or a group of plant we need to be set up for economic point of view, and peaks and through in demand can be managed. In case of electricity, adequate backup supply also required. Quality of thermal energy, that is depend on the plant, that is like pharmacy industry, cement industry and the sugar mill industry. Their thermal energy required varies. That is, for example, we have discussed these are all, that cement industry required much higher energy, much higher temperature. Load pattern also we have discussed, that is it varies from factory to factory, and the type of the cogeneration system is also need to be suitably changed. Fuel availability, what are the fuel availability is there? For a rice mill, the fuel is already available as a rice husk, and for the other industries, the flue gas, we can utilize it in better way for generating the thermal energy. System reliability, whether the system is reliable or not, that is with these things, that is the wastage of this industry that can produce the generation of electricity or not, that is the system reliability. Grid dependency, so if available, the power is available from grid, we can that an industry can buy or not, that is also depend, that is the technical parameter. Where the grid independency is there, so there will be more unit will need to be installed. Retrofits versus new installation, suppose an existing systems are there, so if we can modernize that system over that system, so that is the retrofitting, or if it is possible, or otherwise we have to go for new installation. Electricity buyback, that also requires the local permission, whether the excess electricity can be utilized by the local customers or not, that will give the profit of the industry. And local environmental regulations, the type of fuel that is actually burned and the type of exhaust gas that is released from in the atmosphere, that has also an impact in the technical parameters of the choosing of an cogeneration system. So with this we will end this session, and in the next session we will discuss the other topics, that is prime movers, what are the prime movers of the cogeneration system, and etc. So thanking all of you for joining this session.